Mercury retrograde. What is Mercury retrograde? All the planets of the solar system move in the same direction around the Sun, each with a different rate of speed. Mercury's orbit is 88 days long, therefore approximately 4 orbits of Mercury around the Sun equals 1 Earth year. Occasionally, Mercury, as like a few other planets, appears to slow down, then stops, and then moves slowly backwards for several weeks, and this is termed as retrograde. Eventually, it appears to stop again and reverse direction, moving slowly forward, once again going direct. Later on, Mercury appears to return to its normal orbital speed. Why does this typical phenomenon take place? This occurs because Mercury travels faster than the Earth, and it periodically catches up with Earth, passing us by. When Mercury goes retrograde, it does not actually slow down, stop and move backwards. It only appears to do so. The retrograde phenomenon has to do with the relative speed of the Earth and Mercury, as well as their relationship to each other at a particular point in their orbits. There are 3 such retrograde periods each year, each lasting around 3 weeks. What does Mercury retrograde mean? Mercury retrograde also has a pre- and post-retrograde zone, meaning the planetary backsplash actually starts approximately 2 to 3 weeks before the astrological phenomenon is in full swing and lasts for 2 to 3 weeks after it ends. I coined the phrase retrograde for these time periods because the weirdest, wonkiest and most frustrating things happen during these days. It's our chance to make everything right, which more often than not leads to more communication fails. But, if you're open to it, there could be great moments in the retrograde to mend fences. More planets than Mercury go into retrograde. That's right, you have to deal with Saturn retrograde, Mars retrograde, Venus retrograde, and so on. All the planets within astrology can go retrograde, or seem to slow down. The effect on the collective is different depending on what planet is retrograde. Think of it like this: retrograde spurs reassessment in whatever area the planet governs. For Venus, it's love; for Mercury, it's communication. What happens during Mercury retrograde? Mercury rules communication, travel, news, information, gossip, and technology. This means that we can expect meltdowns, false gossip, miscommunications, technology fails, which is why it's best to back up files and contacts before the retrograde, issues in travel, missed connections, and delays in hearing pertinent information. What are its effects, including on relationships? If you're expecting a raise or promotion, it could take longer to get the paperwork in motion. If you're planning a vacation, you may experience issues while away. Your smartphone could break, you could be accidentally billed twice by the cable company, or an old friend or ex could even resurface in some capacity. An argument could also create tension in a relationship that will be all-consuming during this transit. How do we handle the symptoms of this astrological phenomenon? Being that Mercury retrograde is a planetary slowdown, it's a good time to take note from the cosmos and chill in our personal lives. Take time to focus on what really matters. Accidents happen more frequently during Mercury retrograde, which is why it's advisable to be careful and take your time. Emails and texts may not be sent right away, our GPS could fail, or we could just be exhausted from overthinking. Word of caution: before putting your foot in your mouth, take a second and ruminate over the way the conversation will flow before jumping in. Editing is essential. Less is definitely more. How can we thrive during Mercury retrograde? Don't rush through projects or speed when driving to work. Take a breath and move at a slower pace. Use this time to heal and transform old relationships and friendships. And, if you're fighting with people, try to see matters from their perspective. The keyword is patience as we reassess, refocus, and revise. Do not fear the retrograde. All Mercury's moonwalk is doing is showing us matters from a different perspective to offer clarity, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Think of it as gaining a deeper level of consciousness and a better understanding of ourselves, others, and situations. During Mercury retrograde period, it is advised not to do the following: placing ads/communications, making important decisions, travel, purchasing or settling up of communications equipment, signing important deals or contracts, initiating business deals, sending important correspondence or any type of message, starting any educative projects, beginning any new enterprise. Do not conduct an election. But a Mercury retrograde period is thought to be very excellent for reviewing and revising plans, catching up on old business, cleaning out the metaphorical closet. What is to be done when Mercury retrogrades? Finish projects which involve communication before the retrograde. Avoid closing big deals during the retrograde. Avoid scheduling meetings to make a big decision. Allow extra time when traveling. Back up your hard drive or any other vital data before the retrograde. Avoid installing new computer software. Do needed repairs on machinery/house before the retrograde. Wrap up or complete a project already started. Research a new project thoroughly. Catch up on paperwork. Hold an information sharing meeting. Enjoy a good sense of humor. Myths surrounding Mercury retrograde. With the Mercury going retrograde 3 times a year, there is a common question that arises from time to time. That is whether Mercury going retrograde affects the stock markets and contribute to its volatility. Statistics taken from the Dow Jones and other stock markets around the world over a consistent period of time has shown that Mercury retrograde days did give some profits than the days when Mercury was direct. Put in directly, Mercury retrograde does not affect trading decisions in the long and short term. Another myth surrounding Mercury going retrograde is that there would be communication breakdowns, email issues, appliances malfunction, documents get lost, failures in major projects, and the like. From time immemorial, it has been found that humans are prone to errors or mistakes and failures, and Mercury retro period is no exception for this. If you are not into believing this myth, then you can undergo long journeys without any hassles. Recent studies have shown that many businesses started during this are highly successful when compared to those initiated during its direct days. The success can be attributed to a larger overview of the scenario during Mercury retro period. So the next time Mercury shows to be retrograde, welcome it in style and do not be a coward couching around. Mercury retrograde is actually an optical illusion. Yes, you read that right, Mercury is not actually reversing its orbit or moving backwards. Planets always orbit the Sun in the same direction. The dreaded Mercury retrograde is merely an optical illusion caused by Mercury briefly overtaking Earth in its orbit around the Sun. Farmer's Almanac provides a useful image that illustrates the phenomenon. Picture 2 cars on the highway going in the same direction in different lanes. If one car is driving faster than the other, the slower car will appear to go backward from the perspective of a person in the faster car, even though the slower car is still going pretty fast in the same direction. In a way, it's fitting that Mercury retrograde is an optical illusion, considering this transit affects perception. Welcome to the channel, and if you're new around here, subscribe and turn on your notifications. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.